Alright, you guys, welcome. This is the video review for the DNA Designs DK-06 upgrade kit for Studio Series GRIMLOCK. This is an early sample, but it is a production sample. They're in shipping cases and on their way to retailers now, I believe, according to their Facebook page. I think they posted a picture of all of them on pallets and boxes, so they should be hitting retailers very soon. And it's actually a nice little kit for GRIMLOCK. One, the color matching they did on all the parts that go on, like this neck piece up here, is really well done. It really blends in and matches the figure itself. So it's nice to see that there wasn't really an issue there. Like, it looks really good on the parts, and a lot of these pieces don't even look like they weren't originally with the figure. Weapon-wise, before we get into the bits and pieces of it, because he does have weapon storage here in dinosaur mode, the staff pieces store. They peg in right here on the tail. There's two pieces here. You just pop them off. Those two will go together to form the staff, but they store right here on the side of the tail, and we'll show those off here in a minute. His mace, it stores here and kind of folds underneath. It does do a pretty decent job of also helping support this piece, which can be a little floppy and sag. Although the placement, as you can see now, it's not Revenge of the... Well, I mean, it is Revenge of the Fallen level bad, I guess. But a little awkward placement there for the mace storage, although it is nice to have it here in Dino mode. All the pieces fit in both modes. You can store the weapons in robot mode as well. So we'll go ahead and we'll take that off the mace here. It's on a bendable chain, which is cool, and it also comes off, and we'll show that off here in a minute with the handle there. So here's the basic Dino mode without the weapons attached, and you can see he's got the neck piece up here. He has a little movable tongue piece inside of his mouth, which moves up and down its own little ball joint for transformation, but it just kind of tabs into the back of the arm, and again, we'll show that off here in a minute. And then he's got a movable tail, and it's not super bendable, but it's definitely more of a tail than just flipping the mace out. So that's kind of nice, and it's just kind of held in his robot hand back here. But really kind of helps make the dinosaur mode look a little bit more complete. And that's really all there is to it here in Dino mode. We'll go ahead and transform to robot mode real quick. First off, we'll take the neck pieces off. They're two separate pieces which form the mace. You pop them off. You can see one has a little square peg here. The other one has a little foldable post. And basically they're going through his new fist and pegging together inside the neck like this. That's kind of how they're held on. And then it goes through, like I said, through the fist hole there. But it does cover up all the actual hidden robot mode fist in dinosaur mode, which is nice. So we'll go ahead and fold that down, and we'll show you how these all go together to form the mace here in a moment. And then you take the tail off. You just slide it out of his hand. There's a little post inside there that you can leave on if you want to have like kind of a Beast Wars Megatron look in robot mode, or hold it in either fist. But there's a post in here you can see that goes through his hand back here, and there's the range of the bendy motion in the tail. Transforming to robot mode is essentially the same. You just, aside from not having to fold the mace up, we'll do it real quick. I'm not going to go step by step detailing, because we've already reviewed this guy. I'm going to try to get him to robot mode as quickly as possible here. I'll pop that off, but that's okay. You know what? Sure these snap together tightly. All the way up. Come on. Pull them back over here. There we go. Rotate his waist. His arms. Oh, get his arm out here. Rotate it around. Go ahead and pop his waist piece back on. There we go. Fold his head out. Like I said, the transformation is mostly unchanged. The only reason I'm even showing the transformation is because of that tongue over here, because everything else transforms the same. Fold up his shoulders. The only difference here, again, is that he doesn't have the mace here on the arm. He does have a wrist swivel thumbs and then individually articulated fingers just there at the base hinge. And then there's a little tab on the thumb in this hand, so when you're holding weapons and stuff, you can lock that hand closed, which is nice. And it's the same over here. So bring these down, and basically this will flip around. The tongue, like I said, is on this ball joint. It's just a little piece. It just looks like this, and all it does is fit into this slot right here on the inside of the jaw. So it's easier if you need to remove it for transformation, or you just don't want it sitting around in robot mode, although you can hide it. It pops out easily, but it stays in securely for when you're doing it. And if you want to leave it in during transformation, you can see it's kind of offset on a ball joint. You just rotate it up and out of the way, and that will give you the room you need to fold it up and around. Attach this to the arm, bring the dino arms down like this. And like I said, you can kind of sit it here, fold this all the way up. You can have it folded down like that, where it does kind of stick out a little bit here at the elbow, but you can also, on that ball joint, just kind of hold it up and fold it behind the arm there, and it really doesn't hinder articulation. It just kind of, even when you fold the arm as back far as it'll go, it just kind of sits here behind the bicep, which is nice. Closes head down, and there he is in robot mode. And again, aside from the hand over here, mostly unchanged. And it's a really nice transformation. The add-on kit itself goes on very easily. All you have to do is, on this arm, this whole arm pops off right here at this mushroom joint. You just snap it out, pop the new one in, and then you take this piece off of the original figure and snap it onto the arm. It's all friction hinged. It goes on very easily. Here, it's the same type of deal on this fist. Pop it off at this mushroom joint here at the wrist, pop the new hand on, and you're good to go. It really was like, I was imagining like having to take something apart or wiggle it. Nope, pop the old parts off, pop the new parts on. And as you can see, one, aside from adding the articulation to the hands, the paint job matches really well. It looks like it was part of the figure as it originally was built, which, like I said, just kudos to them for matching that so well. So the weapons, the tail, like I said, if you want to, you can have it in either hand as kind of a Beast Wars Megatron look. Really, you want to use it over here. It's hard to get it in here. You can do it, but you have to fold these up out of the way first. But for the most part, the tail just uses one of these pegs. There's this little peg here for his leg in dinosaur mode, and however you want to do it, you just kind of tab this right into that slot, and it just kind of stores there on the back. And this will also become weapon storage. All the other things attach onto here. But so there he is with the tail stored on his back. The mace goes in his hand. And we'll show that off in a minute, but you can, if you want to retain the look of the original toy, this piece comes off. It just slides off this post, and that post can be held in his hand. So if you just want to have him look like the original toy did, there you go. Now he's got his mace hand. If you want him to have it as a morning star or flail, however you want to call it. Or you can do it like this. Now the handle has a little tab on it, and getting him to hold it securely can take a little doing. And I found the easiest way to do it is to take this, put the handle in his hand, and then kind of, there's a tab inside the lower fingers, and just kind of put this in a position where that tab kind of lines up, and then close the hand, or bring the thumb down first too. You want the thumb down, because if you try to put the thumb down over this ridge, it gets a little difficult. But have that so the tab will fit in there, and you may have to wiggle it a little bit, rotate it to get that tab to seat properly, but you want to make sure that tab gets seated all the way on the mace, or on the handle there. There you go. And you can move the forefinger out of the way to see a little bit. Lock that in. Lift this up just a smidge so you can close the finger, and then use that little locking tab. And then he holds it pretty securely, because if you don't do that, the weight of the ball tends to have it keep falling out of his hand if you don't lock it in. And you can change the angle of the wrist to make it dangle a little bit more naturally. If you want an action pose where he's swinging it, you can bring it up. It's really, now the big ball's out of frame, but you can get some really good poses out of that. It's very similar to the mace that came with, or the replacement chain for MP Megatron, although again, you can see I've managed to untab that. So get that tab back on, get it locked into place, and it's already come loose. Like I said, this is the one of the two fairly minor flaws I have with this, is that if you don't get this locked in, it doesn't take a lot to send it swinging around all over the place again. Lock it in. Lock it in. So it kind of helps if you hold the hand closed while you're posing it. Otherwise, it will tend to come loose. For the staff, you take the staff, and you snap this piece into it. Here's the other minor flaw. You can see there's, I don't know how well you can see it, but there's already a stress mark right here because there's also two peg holes on this staff. And if you try to push it in like this, where the two peg holes are the thinner pieces, it likes to bend and stress a little bit. I haven't broken it, and I can hit that with a hairdryer and those will disappear. But when you're snapping this in, because getting it out is easy, getting it in is a little tight. But if you take it so here's the opening, so the pegs are, I guess, perpendicular to the opening, you've got a solid core through there that you want to push down here. But if you go up a little higher, you have less of a chance of snapping it if you have the pegs lined that way. But you just snap that into place. And then there's the two tabs up here that go inside these slots on the two mace halves, the two staff halves. And you want to make sure they're folded closed. These pieces do open, but you don't want to open it until you snap them apart because these spikes right here will prevent you from getting these two together properly. So take that, tab it on here, push it together, and then here's where you can see these spikes come around. As you open this up, you can see those will wrap around and kind of cover that piece. So you want to make sure you do that afterwards. But you just open that up, open those up, and you can put them in whatever position you want. But if you open them up, there's your whole staff, and then you just again, there's those peg holes in here. Line it up with his hand, and this one you have a little bit more leeway to wrap around and lock it in. Although that thumb can still get in the way depending on which side you put that post on, and then he kind of holds it like that. And there he is, all weaponed up with the add-on parts. And like I said, if you want to store them, you can take these pieces, and here on the you can see there's a little peg hole on here. You can store the mace across, or the staff across his back, and the handle of the Morning Star flail. You see, also has a little tab on it. You can kind of fold it up. This piece rotates. It actually attaches the same way that this piece attaches to the top of the staff. But you can rotate that around. Plug this onto here, and then you can store all the weapons on his back as well. And again, if you wanted to, you could flip this around so it was the opposite direction if you want it to be just a little bit more secure, because this end's a little heavier, so it balances them a little better if you do it this way. And then again, same with the mace, you can do it any way you want. And you don't have to fold it the way I'm doing it. I'm just showing you how it all stores together on his back. So yeah, a really nice upgrade set that, I mean, like I said, it looks like it was part of the original figure. It's a nice way to add it, and it does add just those fine small details that would have been cool to have on the original release. But there it is, the DK-06 upgrade kit for Studio Series Grimlock from DNA Designs.